is a very complicated decision, and I think the administration probably realizes that some people, even in its own party, you saw today, have misgivings about this. But I think it's a sound decision over the longer term, because this war has to end and Russian aggression has to cease, and Ukraine needs its country back. And that's what this is about. And above all, this is for the Ukrainians to defend their country, which is our policy, helping them defend their country, to be used against other soldiers and armies where civilians are nowhere near around. So I don't think it's hypocrisy at all. And I think we have to keep in mind that this is a response to the Russian aggression. This is a response to Russia already using cluster bombs, including against civilians. So again, it's a tough call. I realize that the U.S. likes to be a leader of a global consensus, but certainly in this case, I think it's understandable why President Biden made the decision that he did. They are very lethal, as the press commentary has said all day. They will help Ukraine make up for the, let's say, not a shortage, but running low on ammunition. They need more. This is really a war like 1918 or so, World War I. This is about artillery barrages, both sides against each other. And certainly the Russians have been absolutely brutal in using artillery, not only against Ukrainian soldiers, but against Ukrainian civilian targets. And this will help Ukraine defend itself. Everybody has been talking about negotiations, as you no doubt know, in your country and ours and elsewhere in NATO, but there's really no prospect for a negotiated settlement of this conflict until Russia stops its aggression. And this decision today certainly will help Ukraine bring that about. What's happened is that NATO, our country, your country, have responded to conditions on the battlefield. As you know, going back last year when they talked about some of the longer range artillery systems. So this seems to happen about regularly every month, which is to say Ukraine asks for a weapon which is based on its battlefield needs. And this is certainly a battlefield need. It's hard to say how low they really are in ammunition, but certainly this will help the Ukrainian cause. But as you know, in your country, in mine, in other NATO alliance countries, weaponry, ammunition has to be provided for in a process that takes months from manufacture to shipment and so forth. And this will help make up for that need. The Russians, by the way, face the same dilemma when they're supplying their troops in Donbass, for example. They have to ship that stuff all the way from inside Russia. And this is a very, very complicated process. On the Ukrainian side, on the Western side, these shipments tend to come from overseas. They're driven or by train shipped across Western Ukraine to Kiev and the front. And this is a long, complicated process. And those supply lines are very vulnerable. So you have to plan ahead, and you have to plan what the needs might be, even as you respond to what Ukraine's needs are. This is about, again, a war decision taken by the White House in the context of an awareness on their part that there are significant public opinion out there, I wouldn't say the majority, against using these weapons. You have to weigh all the considerations. And as you know, this kind of debate went on about javelins 3 years ago. It went on about all the other systems I mentioned. Is going on now about the F-16s. These are political decisions, as you point out. But I would add, however, that the public opinion in the United States is very, very strongly against the Russian aggression in Ukraine. You might have seen a flicker about springtime, April, May, where it's appeared that U.S. support, while still strong, had gone down. Now it's back up over 60%. About double, maybe 3 times more what the opposition to helping Ukraine might be. So I think in terms of public opinion, this is not really related to that. This is related to the understanding by the White House that these weapons are very lethal. These weapons have a lot of people who are against their use, but taken in the totality of what's going on, they have to make a very tough decision that they should be used right now. But I would remind you that these are not going to be used against civilians. These are going to be used against Russian soldiers in the trenches on the battlefield, Russian soldiers who are at least as numerous as the Ukrainian side and have very lethal artillery, as I said. So this is a very complicated decision, and I think the administration probably realizes that some people, even in its own party, you saw today, have misgivings about this. But I think it's a sound decision over the longer term, because this war has to end and Russian aggression has to cease, and Ukraine needs its country back. And that's what this is about.